live on January 7th, 2026. Second live show of 2026. Have to get used to that. It's like when you were in school and you came back from Christmas break, had to like write the date in the right-hand corner and shit. And you'd always like write the previous year for like the first month. I just have that memory in my head of always screwing that up.
Yeah, I haven't had to write the date too much so far, so it's been working out.
Yeah, everything just autofills now too, so it's like you don't even have to think about it. But yeah, we're here. Kevin's here. We'll see who else. We'll see who else joins us. We're just going through some rookies, 2025 rookies, not the 2026 class. Got to make that clear, and just kind of looking back. We're looking at quarterbacks and running backs in today's video, I guess, live stream, I guess I should say. It is the off season for fantasy football, but obviously playoffs still happening. We got 3 weeks of playoffs and then the Super Bowl, so which I guess is technically the fourth week of playoffs. But we are 106 days, I think I saw, to the NFL draft. So countdown has begun, and yes, the real dynasty work begins. This is where you kind of separate yourselves, in my opinion. And I feel like this is a prime time to make moves. I forget who it was in the last stream. Might have been you, Kevin, or someone else. But like, yeah, that the dynasty values are kind of all over the place. People are really looking backwards instead of forwards and stuff like that. So 105 days, by the way, to the NFL draft, in case you were wondering. But yeah, we had 7 coaches fired, if you include the 2 that were fired in season, Brian Daboll and Brian Callahan. Bad season for Brian's, but it is Brian's with a Y, an I, not a Y. A couple surprise ones: Kevin Stefanski and John Harbaugh out. I know they were kind of rumored, but those are 2 good coaches that are out. One of them won a Super Bowl. Stefanski, kind of it's done the best with what he's had for the most part in terms of like kind of having shitty quarterbacks in his entire career in Cleveland. But yeah, also Rashee Rice. Kevin brought this up. I actually didn't even hear this until Kevin brought this up, but he has some domestic violence allegations. So not what you want to hear. Any thoughts on that? Kevin was kind of asking about like what our thoughts and how does that affect him overall, or is it kind of just a wait and see type of situation?
Yeah, there is part of that for sure, but I mean, the whole Chiefs situation is so up in the air. There's rumors like, are they going to go into full rebuild because we don't know when Mahomes is going to come back? What's Andy Reid's situation, Kelsey's situation? Like, there's almost too many moving pieces to like really try and get like a clear picture, but obviously the domestic violence thing, it's always just a bummer to hear. Like, it's just terrible all around.
Yeah, from a human aspect and stuff. I mean, what the NFL has kind of taught us is like, if you're good, it kind of gets pushed under the rug a little bit. Like, the suspension will maybe happen unless they, a lot of times these guys, settle, this stuff outside of court and all that stuff. And I don't know, like it kind of gets swept under the rug if you're a really good player, unfortunately. I think it says a lot about, not to get too deep into it, but it says a lot about society and stuff, unfortunately. But it's not what you want to hear, with the car accident stuff, like not great couple of years there for Rashee Rice. And it does make you think about, like, is he one of those wide receivers where, and again, we don't even know exactly what happened. So, we can't necessarily jump to conclusions yet, because there has been times when people have been accused and, they were innocent. So But yeah, you just hope that was the case, maybe. But we'll have to kind of follow that along. I feel like Worthy is a buy. Yeah, potentially. Worthy was a bit of a disappointment last year, but he also got hurt, in the beginning of the year when Rashi Rice was out. That kind of sucked. But we'll see what happens with Worthy. So, but yeah, we're just kind of recapping rookies from 2025. Again, we'll start getting into 2026 stuff as soon as really next week, the next two shows. So basically, while the playoffs go on, and make sure to hit the like button for us, guys, and of course, subscribe if you aren't, and in our Discord as well. We're going to try and put together a couple more listener leagues, at least one more startup. If you want to join a startup Dynasty league with us, join the Discord. That's the best way to get in. So start putting that together soon. But the schedule for the off season, while the playoffs are going, is we'll go live Wednesday night and Saturday morning, or maybe early afternoon if you're on the East Coast, and then we'll add Sunday to the slate once the Super Bowl is done. And as soon as next week, we'll be live streaming, kind of looking more ahead rather than looking backwards. But just kind of wanted to look over the rookies in today's video, QBs and running backs, and then wide receivers and tight ends in the next show, and just kind of where we're at with them. And we'll start off with the quarterbacks here. And this was kind of like this quarterback class was not considered very good. And by the way, Sean, congrats on the championships if you won some. But yeah, we try to help as much as we can. I know he's commented that a couple of times too on videos. But yeah, I mean, overall, this rookie quarterback class turned out a lot better. I think we can get to the specifics there here soon. But Cam Ward was the number one overall pick. Didn't have a great season. I think it was to be expected. Just the situation he was in. Did start to look better there at the end of the season. Like if you kind of look at the last, I think about his last 4 games before he got knocked out with a shoulder injury, and that is something to monitor, by the way. If he's going to need surgery, he actually might miss time next beginning of next year. And shoulder injuries with quarterbacks not great. But you look at his last 4 games before that injury, he threw 2 touchdowns in 4 straight games. And was limiting the interceptions, only 1 interception. Wasn't necessarily throwing for a bunch of yards, but looked better. So just overall thoughts on Cam Ward. Where is he at as a dynasty asset? Is it still pretty, I don't know. These players are always hard that don't do well their first season, but I feel like it was pretty expected with Ward, right?
Yeah, I think like we definitely saw the improvement, like even before his bye week, like, the yardage was there, but so were the picks and the lack of touchdowns. So overall, I'd say like not unexpected, I mean, he was doing it without a whole lot at receiver. The Titans are just, they were obviously just really bad, and that's typically what happens with these rookie quarterbacks, like they're getting drafted high into like situations that are bad in general, So yeah, not necessarily completely unexpected, but it would have been nice to see a little bit more. But he played the whole season, up until that last game. But yeah, he'll be an interesting one to watch, like I feel like people who drafted him at the 102 to 105 or something like that. Yeah. Like I think he's a solid hold. Like no one's going to want to sell him. Like you're not going to get that back for him, but I don't know. Like, would you be interested in trading like a late 26 first for him just for what might be?
Oh yeah, for sure. I don't think you're going to get him for that though. So I think he's in that position where like what you have to, he should be basically like in the position where you're probably going to have to overpay for him, or what feels like an overpay right now. And it could pay off if you really believe in him. Like I'm not trading him really unless it's like a top 3 pick or in the next couple of drafts. I don't think I would trade him for more. Like I would want still close to 2 firsts or a first and a really good piece or something. Like I just don't think you're also. I also don't think you're going to get that. So, but yeah, late 26 first easy, especially in this draft class.
Quarterback 17 on keep trade cut ahead of, obviously like this will start shaking out a little more because we're still a little too close to the season. We're starting to see movement for sure. There's a lot of guys below him I'd rather have, even for long term. I'd rather have Daniel Jones, Goff, Darnold, Baker.
Yeah, I don't know about the Daniel Jones just because of the Achilles injury.
Yeah, it'll be tough, but I feel like he was playing well enough to where hopefully, I guess it depends on like what Indy's gonna do, and like obviously like they started getting into those tougher matchups, and we didn't see Daniel Jones quite performing the way that we would have wanted, but we'll see.
Yeah, I just think like a guy like Daniel Jones, I think you're better off going with. Honestly, Cam Ward's probably going to fall into that bucket of quarterbacks where there's not a whole lot of difference, kind of like where he is now. But I think you got to go Ward over Jones just straight up, just because of the potential of what he could be, and he's. I think the talent's there when you watch Ward. You watch him play. If you watch them play, and you see the potential there. He just didn't have it with his team there. Like we're, the guy we're going to get to, not next, but after that, it shows you what a competent play caller and a number 1 option, receiving option can really do for a quarterback, especially a rookie quarterback. And Cam Ward didn't have that. Do you know who led the Titans in I know in catches, I'm going to double check in yards, but do you know who led them in catches this year?
I have no idea. Was it DK?
It wasn't DK.
I have absolutely no idea.
It was Chigakonkwo, I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
And how many questions did we have? He led them in catches and yards. How many questions did we have of like, should I start Chigakonkwo or this guy? I don't remember any. Like, I don't remember even talking about Chigakonkwo all year. And that's nothing against Chigakonkwo. I think he's a solid receiving tight end, and he shouldn't be your number 1 or really your number 2 option. He should probably be at best your number 3 option, So it's just, we'll get to Shuck, and that's the guy I'm talking about. He had Kellen Moore as his head coach, who's a good offensive play caller at this point, and Olave, potential elite or top 15 wide receiver. So, passing receiving option there. Like Cam Moore didn't have that, and it goes a long way, So, I agree with you. Like other guys like Baker, I would take over him and stuff like that, Goff and stuff. But I think when it comes to someone like a Daniel Jones, do watch the shoulder injury. We will see with that. But kind of.
It does say on Sleeper that he will not need surgery 2 days ago.
That's good.
So
that's good. I think it was like a very small percentage of quarterbacks that get that injury needed surgery, but that surgery would have knocked him out for like 6 to or like 8 months or something, which wouldn't be great. Jackson Dart's the next one here, and he was, fantasy wise, the best quarterback from this draft class. Not even really. I guess it's kind of close, but he averaged 20.5 points per game when he played. So I took out, he came in a couple games and ran the ball once when Russell Wilson was playing. I obviously took those out and stuff, but 246.6 points. His 17 game pace this year, by the way, I guess I should have said Cam Ward 17 game pace, but Cam Ward 17 game pace, which is basically his stats, but 3,300 yards, 16 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, only 157 rushing yards. So like to see more from there. But Jackson Dart was on pace for 690 rushing yards and 13 rushing touchdowns. Like, obviously, the rushing touchdowns are going to be hard to bank on. I do think he can rush for 500 yards or so. My question with Jackson Dart is he has to be the key. Like, if you're redrafting the rookie draft, right? I mean, Dart has to be a top 3-4 pick, right? Like, he has to be the QB1 in Superflex. And like, does he go ahead of Hampton? Does he go ahead of I mean, who else was going? Tetaroa? Does he go ahead of these guys, or where are you putting them? Travion?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of tough. I think it, like, honestly, it might be between those 4 guys you mentioned. You can almost go team need, kind of. Because I don't really think any of them really like stood out to where it's like, oh, obviously, this guy, So, yeah, I mean, he's probably worth more than any one of those guys. Just quarterback scarcity. QB 10 on Keep Trade Cut right now. Yeah, you got him. And you have him at 8. Oh, is that his finish?
That's his points per game finish when he was the starter.
Gotcha. Oh, yeah, because I'm just looking at points per game, including everything. Season. So, yeah.
There's a couple games where he had 1 or 2 rushing attempts with Russ. Yeah. So, yeah, as the starter, he was 20.5 points, QB8.
But yeah, I mean, you could definitely make the case for him at the 102.
I mean, if you're only drafting on last season, he's the 101, right? I mean, is there someone better? Like, based off of just off of last season's production, not necessarily going forward. I don't think there was anyone better than him. Dart was a legit starter for you.
Yeah. And it was quick too. Mm-hmm. He showed it as soon as he started playing, what his what his floor and his ceiling was, based on all the rushing.
Yeah, he did a lot of that. I mean, he did all of that without Malik Neighbors, right? How many games did Neighbors play? Maybe he played 1 game with Neighbors. I don't remember. There, but I do think. And this is why I get so frustrated. Like, when it comes to Dynasty rookie draft season, people get so fixated on this player has to be the 101. There's no and I get it. Jeremiah Love should be the 101 most likely. Ashton Genty should have been the number 1. But you're fooling yourself if you can't find the path to other guys being more valuable, especially quarterbacks. So we can't get so fixated on that. And the point there is not to necessarily take Jackson Dart at the 101 over Ashton Genty, but it's to use that knowledge and manipulate the draft, trade back, get players that hey, I'm going to trade back. I'm going to get a bunch of assets. We're going to talk about this with Genty and Hampton. You can make the argument that Hampton should be taken over Genty at this point. And you can take advantage of that, really stockpile assets and still get a player that could be better than the player that everyone's saying has to go 101, because it doesn't take much to change. So I will say, I do think Jackson Dart is a tier down from him option if you can. I have him in 2 leagues. I'm trying to trade down, tier down from him. Not because I don't think he can be good, but I do think there are still some things that were a little bit covered up because of his fantasy production. He's going to have that extra. We always talk about that outside value that doesn't have anything to do with stats or how you play on the football field. He's going to have that a little bit because he plays in New York with Cam Scattaboo and, stuff like that. We'll see who they hire at coach as their coach and stuff. That's important. But, the way he plays does lend towards fantasy, right? Because of the rushing. I don't think that's going to go away. But there is the concern with injuries, of course, if he doesn't learn how to protect himself. But I do think he's a tier down option because I do think you can get quite a lot for him on top of someone like a Dak or Baker or something. So Any final thoughts on Dart?
No, I think that's a pretty good summary right there.
And as you guys, are watching, if you guys have any questions about anything really, it could be about rookies, non-rookies, whatever, leave them in the chat. We'll try and get to them. Tyler Shuck is the next one, potential offensive rookie of the year. Let's see what those odds are now. I feel like he's the favorite now for offensive rookie of the year. Tyler Shuck, even though he couldn't help your Bucks make it to the playoffs.
Well, they couldn't help themselves either, so that's not his fault.
Yeah. I'll have to pull that up. But basically came in, and from the point he took over as the starter, he was the QB9, 17.6 points per game, which was awesome. I'll talk a little bit about that in a bit. His 17-game pace, 4,261 passing yards, 4,261. I don't know why I can say that. 4,261 passing yards, which was 1,000 more than Jackson Dart. This is 17-game pace. 1,000 more than Jackson Dart, 900 more than Cam Ward, 19 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, had 330 rushing yards, and 6 rushing touchdowns. Again, 17-game pace there. He, again, it just goes to show you, how do I think Tyler Shuck is better talent-wise than Cam Ward? Absolutely not. But he was able to throw to guys like Olave and Juwan Johnson. Even I don't think maybe Shaheed was traded at that point, but Olave and Kellen Moore as his coach, those go a long way, man. And I think if you took our advice, and I think we were telling people, mid-second round pick for Shuck, he shouldn't really fall too far past the top 15-ish guys, 17-ish guys. I got him in the 3rd round in a couple leagues in Superflex. I remember vividly someone saying he sucks, Shuck, no, he sucks. And I said, I don't even care if he sucks or not. The minute he's announced as a starter, you're going to be able to trade him for more if you do. And then if you kept him, you're super excited about what you have here, right? I mean,
yeah. And I remember it was Derek Carr retired right around the time a lot of rookie drafts were starting, or going on. Maybe a little after, depending on if your team or your league's hyper vigilant, But 40th overall pick in the draft, and it really worked out. I don't know if he's going to be a long-term guy there, but the dude showed he could play, because everyone was basically the Saints, they're going to be the worst team in the NFL. And, him and Rattler combined, they weren't playing bad, like you said, the coach and the receiving options for a quarterback obviously makes a big deal. Not to take anything away from those two young men, but the numbers looked really good. Not a lot of multi-touchdown games, a little bit of rushing, but nothing to really write home about, but like you said, the 17-game pace was pretty decent. He got about a third of his total rushing yards in one game, so it wasn't necessarily evenly split across, and two touchdowns in that game too. So it might be a little more fluky than that. Not necessarily something you can count on, but looks good. Where's he at?
I think he'll be consistently a 350 rusher, 350 to 400 yard rusher, which I think is nothing to sneeze at. That is, he averaged 17. I think he'll be just under 20 yards a game. Kind of. So, Sean, I didn't think Rattler played well. I didn't think he played poorly when he played. But I understand why they wanted to go to Shuck, see what they got. And obviously they liked the guy, and it worked out because he had I think above 500 record. And Kellen Moore does love to throw. And he loves the dink and dunk stuff. He makes it easy for him. Which, Yeah, I don't know what his long-term future. I mean, they're definitely not. I mean, we talked about. I was on the boat of like Saints are going to be the worst team in the NFL. They have the same record as the Chiefs and the Bengals. Like, it shows how much you just the NFL is unpredictable. But Shuck was if you drafted him, man, you're looking at him as a starter for next year. I don't know about long term, but you're looking at him as a starter for next year, a QB3/4 for next year. So where is he at? Or keep trade
22. No, yeah, 22.
Who's like right behind him?
Mr. Daniel Jones, Stafford, McCarthy, Penix, Kyler, Shador.
Okay. Yeah. I think that's relatively fair. Like Stafford, you don't know his future. Jones coming off the Achilles. McCarthy and Penix are a little bit like, Shuck was better than both those guys have been, in their careers, and they're both young. So
he is right behind Bryce Young.
Yeah, I mean, I would guess that Shuck's been better than like his season has been better than anything Bryce Young's done, right? In terms of fantasy. So
the pace and everything. Yeah, sure. We saw some life from Bryce Young in spurts this season again.
And this is advice to anyone. I know you probably guys, people out there consume a lot of Dynasty content. Quarterbacks are the hardest position to scout or to figure out their long-term future or success in the NFL because there's so many other factors that go into it than just what you see on the field. You can watch a running back, be like, oh yeah, this guy's fast and big and strong. Like I think he's going to be good, but quarterbacks, there's so much that goes into it, pre-snap, post-snap, the coach they have, the weapons, blah, blah, blah. Take a chance on rookie quarterbacks, man, in super flex leagues. Like they could really pay off. You're going to get a couple of them this year. Ty Simpson might be one. I was a little bit surprised, Alabama quarterback who the first 6 weeks of the college season was like, holy crap, this guy could be like a top 5 pick. And then he kind of like didn't look good the last month or so. Got hurt in the playoff game against Indiana. He's going to be an interesting one that may be a second round pick in rookie drafts. I don't know. So just watch for stuff like that. Shuck worth more than Kyler and Tua, according to Keep Trade Cut. I mean, I would take him over Tua, I think. I don't know if I'd take him over Kyler straight up, but I could see the argument as to why. So,
I was kind of feeling that same way. He's 5 spots ahead of Kyler. What's the actual point difference? The points are not crazy far apart. Still 500 points or so. And Tua is just totally tanking in terms of value. He's behind Mac Jones.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be interesting what they do because they didn't fire McDaniel, right? Unless I totally missed that. They didn't fire McDaniel. And they didn't end well there. I mean, Tua got benched. So, I don't know. Is there he still could get fired, especially with like Harbaugh and Stefanski becoming available. So we'll see. We're going to get to this in just a second here about Genty and Hampton. So, and we'll answer that question here. We can get to these other quarterbacks relatively quickly, just kind of going in order from where they were drafted. Jalen Milroe was the next quarterback. Didn't see him. He's playing behind Sam Darnold. Obviously, he has a lot of value if he does ever start. And I think he'll get a shot, Jalen Milroe. He's a guy that maybe you can get as a throw-in or like, even if you want to trade like a late third-round pick for him. Because if he does start, he's a rushing quarterback. He's going to have value. Dylan Gabriel played. I think Dylan Gabriel is a career backup. But if he's on the right team, I think he can come in and win you some games. Like, I think he can be. I mean, look at the guys we were starting in week 16, 17. Tyler Huntley, I started in a championship dynasty team, and Malik Willis, and like, I don't think we've heard the end of Gabriel, but I do think he's just a career backup. And jump in if you want to say anything on any of these guys, or if you want to add anything. But Shador Sanders, is the other one. What do you think of? I don't think Shador has a future as a starter personally. And I don't think he's going to be a great backup just because he has the name value, and generally you want your backup as like kind of a faceless guy in a way,
Yeah.
and like also the backup's really important to like help. I'm not saying Shador doesn't do this, but the backup also needs to like really help the starting quarterback prepare. Like the backup quarterback is very valuable. Like, Brady and Mahomes always talk about their backup quarterbacks helping them prepare for games and stuff. Obviously, it doesn't matter for fantasy, but like, I don't know. How are you viewing Shador at this point? Like, trade him away for a second if you receive a second, but just keep him if it's anything less like than that, or
I mean, yeah, I mean, I would definitely take any second for him. I feel like he wasn't even going in like half the rookie drafts that I was in until the third, at least half of them. He was kind of like that borderline guy. And a lot of that was like, well, he should have got drafted higher, but I mean, a lot of teams passed on him 4 times, and then he finally got taken in the 5th round, right?
Yep. 4th or 5th,
So,
yeah.
I think it was 5th, but yeah, it could be 4th, but either way, and that's telling, and that's not always, obviously everyone passed on Brock Purdy, like
Tom Brady.
Like, yeah. So, I mean, it can happen, but obviously that's the outlier situation. But I mean, just the Browns, man, like they're just an absolute mess. Like, you think Deshaun Watson's going to start for them next year?
I mean, he might. Like, as crazy as that is, like they're picking at 6th, and you have 3 QB needy teams picking at 1, 2, and 3. So I don't know what I mean, maybe they bring in a backup or something. Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't even know who the coach is gonna be. I don't know who wants to go there. It sucks. But by the way, Shador Sanders 17 game pace. He started in 7 games. 3,285 passing yards, 17 touchdowns, 22 interceptions. That's a problem.
That's a huge problem.
Yeah, 372 rushing yards, 2.5. He had times where he flashed. Like he had a 3 touchdown game, 364 yards, 3 touchdowns against the Titans. And he had a couple. He kept them in games. I don't know if it was him or the defense or whatever, but he did enough to where they were in these games. They beat Cincinnati, they beat Pittsburgh, they were in the Buffalo game. Like, so the quarterback has to do something there. Browns look bad. This is true too from Sean. Like we just talked about it with Ward. Browns weren't much better, with the weapons. Their play caller was better than Stefanski, but their weapons weren't. I mean, Fannin was definitely better than anyone on the Titans, but that's about it. Like Judy was terrible.
And it's tough too because like I feel like we're seeing like just like the quicker turnover in quarterbacks and stuff. And if these guys can't like win games, like take fantasy out of it, obviously this is a fantasy show, but it's like these guys lose their jobs,
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter how high they're picked, like obviously the higher they get picked, the more it seems like the more chances they kind of get. But I mean, we saw Bryce Young bench for Andy Dalton mid-season in his 2nd year, right? Last year.
Mm-hmm.
And then he came back and he looked like charged up and like he looked good. Yeah. But I mean, sometimes these guys just need to sit. They need to sit behind a vet for sure. And it's like, it doesn't, and the opposite happens too. You get like the Justin Fields situation where it's like, he's not like, obviously for fantasy, it's awesome. But if he's not winning games, it's like, they at least need to see what else they got. So throw Brady Cook out there, see if Tyrod Taylor, who they know is not their future, can at least win them some games just for morale. Even, you can't just go out there and just keep losing. You're going to lose your job.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm in the boat of if I get a second for him, I'm trading him. I'm a little bit hesitant trading him for just 1/3, maybe a couple thirds in super flex and stuff. That's kind of where I'm at with Shador. Like, there's a chance he does start next year, but we will see. Not a whole lot else to talk about. Kyle McCord, Will Howard, they didn't do anything. They were the next two. I think they're both still on teams. Kyle McCord on the Eagles, Will Howard on the Steelers. Riley Leonard, I did make a graphic for him. He actually played well in his couple of games here. He averaged 16 and a half points. Only thing I'll say is the Colts, like, they don't know what's going on with Anthony Richardson. Daniel Jones might miss the beginning of the season. Maybe Riley Leonard is their starter the first couple of weeks. Super flex leagues, I'm generally holding on to any backup quarterback. He could be the QB2, so he's definitely a hold. And then Curtis Rourke is someone I do want to mention real quick. He's on San Francisco. Just watch for that. I mean, Mac Jones is still under contract, I believe, but maybe we saw what any quarterback that enters the San Francisco system is going to play well, like decent. So Curtis Rourke, I think he was like a 6th, 7th round pick, is on there. And then Quinn Ewers is another guy to watch here because, again, he was benched. He has arm talent, and that offense for Miami definitely looked different when Quinn Ewers is playing, and he has the arm talent to make a lot of throws that a guy like Tua can't. So if Mike McDaniel does stay, maybe there's an outside chance that like Quinn Ewers has a little bit more of a role there. But anything on those guys, or should we just move to running backs?
Yeah, just probably move on to running backs. Just too small of a sample size, but like you said, like nice stashes for the end of your bench because you never know.
You never know, indeed. By the way, guys, once again, just make sure to hit that like button for us if you haven't already. Just get more eyes on the video and join our Discord if you want to get into a listener league with us. That is the best, probably the only way to do that. I'm putting the link there. It is free to join. Overall, though, I will say, again, we got the number 1 overall pick, Cam Ward, which still holds a lot of value. We got a top 10 quarterback out of this draft class. We got another guy in Tyler Shuck that we're looking forward to at least next year as a QB 3 or 4 on our Superflex teams. And then we'll see with guys like Sanders, Gabriel, Leonard, Ewers. But like this quarterback class we were very down on turned out actually way better than we thought. So just keep that in mind for any rookie draft. You're going to hear that this year potentially with this rookie class that it's down on certain players. Guys come out of the woodwork. So running backs. Into the running backs. Ashton Genty. Maybe better than you thought. Average 14.4 points, PPR points per game. RB 16 in points per game. Ashton Genty, the clear number 1 for basically even in super flex leagues. I mean, he was literally, I don't think I saw him not go 101 in any rookie draft that we did, whether it was right or wrong, but I think it was the right choice. Tough season for him. I mean, the Raiders were just a disaster, obviously. I was looking at him and Bijan's numbers. Very, very similar in terms of just pure like counting numbers. Bijan rushed for 976, Genty 975, 58 catches for Bijan, 55 for Genty. 10 touchdowns for Genty, 8 for Bijan. Bijan did do more with less, like he had less carries and stuff. He was a bit more efficient. And they averaged the same amount of points per game. Although if you do take out the headache game for Bijan, then Bijan was significantly better, like 15.2 or something. But they both averaged like 14.4, 14.5 per game. Just keep that in mind. One other thing before I get your thoughts on him. He had one of the lowest yards before contact. So some of the underlying stuff, his underlying numbers didn't look great. Like his breakaway percentage, which is what percentage of your yards are coming on big runs of 15 or more yards. His rushing over expectation, like, did he basically kind of earn more yards than was expected of him? Stuff like that didn't look great, but he was getting out of like all the quarterbacks, like the starters and guys that had a significant amount of carries. He was basically, him and Judkins were pretty low on the yards before contact, only a yard and a half for Genty. Compare that to like Trayvon Henderson had 3 yards before contact on average. So Ashton Genty, he's probably still a top 5 running back in keep trade cut.
Yeah. He's sitting right at 4. And those yards before contact, like that stuff's so important, for running backs. Like, it just kind of shows you like how bad the Raiders were as far as like there was just no line. It's like if you're basically getting hit at the line of scrimmage or even behind it on half your plays, like you're not really giving him much of a chance to really get going. But yeah, I'm glad you brought up Bijan rookie season, because Genty was that essentially. Like, I don't remember the Falcons being very good that year that Bijan went there. I should remember better, but obviously, like, we've seen a lot from him these last 2 years from Mr. Robinson there.
Yeah.
And so, here's to hoping, sometimes these guys do just end up on like in a really bad situation. And we don't even know if it's going to be any better next year, but yeah.
You're going to have a quarterback of their choice. So,
yeah.
But the offensive line, who knows? Who knows if it's going to be better?
But yeah, the role was right where we wanted it to be, right? Lots of involvement in the pass game, and the workhorse, just playing the majority, like that workhorse snap share. So
yeah, he is the type of running back, in my opinion. Like, Bijan can like make a guy miss in a phone booth, right? If we, it's kind of an outdated expression now, but like, he's one of those that, like, if someone meets him, 2 yards in the backfield, can make a miss. I feel like Genty's a little bit more like a Derrick Henry in that way. Like, I'm not comparing him to Derrick Henry, but like, if he gets to the second level, he's gonna be a problem. Yeah. I just don't know how often he got to the second level untouched, essentially. So, I jury's still out on him. You see what the power of going top 10, or I forgot exactly where he went overall, but you see the power of it. He literally, I think, came into the season as RB3. He's RB4, even though he had, for the most part, a disappointing season because we were drafting him in the first or second round, early second round of redraft. So would you take,
how much worse can his situation get is kind of the question, right? Like,
yeah,
I mean, if this is
a coach,
what's that?
They need a coach, so we'll see there.
Pete Carroll, we hardly knew you on the Raiders anyways. You've been around forever. Just retire, man.
He's like 70-something. He just
I know. He was
70-something.
I know. He could kick the shit out of me, I'm sure.
Yeah. Something I will say, and this probably just points to how bad the Raiders' offensive line was. He faced significantly less defenders in the box, 16.17% of the time, 8 defenders in the box. Compare that to Hampton, over 25, Judkins over 45%, Travion and Harvey over 30%. So, like, that might just point to the Raiders' offensive line and how bad they were. But
it's that, and it's also, people still had to like fear the pass from Geno, at least somewhat, because we've seen it before, kind of.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. So as we get into Amarion Hampton, and let me just go over his numbers real quick here. Obviously missed some time, but when he played, 15.1 points per game, RB 13 in PPR. He averaged 4.4 yards per attempt. He caught the ball decently well. He looked better. His elusive rating, his breakaway percentage, more longer, having longer runs and plays and stuff was better than a guy like Genty. His yards after contact were better. Before and after, his rushing over expectations was better. So I don't think it's crazy to say, and this is going back to why we need to be like, what you're going to hear, you're already hearing it with people saying Jeremiah Love has to go number 1, and that's fine. But now, a year removed, I don't think it's crazy to say that Hampton is going to be better than Genty. At least he's on a better team. And to me, he looked better. Like, watching a lot of Amari and Hampton, like, you could just see this guy has it. Um, so where are you at with that? Like, if you were to move one, are you just moving the one that you think you can get more for? Or are you going to move the one that keep the one you like more? And who do you like more between Genty and Hampton?
I mean, for the next, 2 to 3 years or something, I feel like you kind of got to go with Hampton, right?
Yeah.
For the reasons you just kind of laid out, like we saw it from him, like he's on the Chargers, which, they were playing without a line, or a good chunk of it, for a good chunk of their season. Obviously, Hampton missed a bunch of it, but I don't think Kamani Vidal is going to be a problem for him long term in next season or whatever. And I don't know what Najee's contract was, but I don't think that was really going to be too much of an issue anyways. Yeah. And we saw it kind of right away with Hampton, with Najee on the field for those 3 games. Yeah. So like that didn't necessarily the value pick of Najee, like, well, this could be more split than we thought. Like that didn't play out.
Remember Najee had like that weird eye injury that kind of like,
yeah, it was like a firework or something, right?
Yeah, but it stuck around for a while. Like the guy like couldn't see until like a week before season started, and then obviously, yeah. I mean, you saw like looking at Hampton, some of his box score like 6'5", 6'8". He had 4 games of 5 or more catches, so that's in his bag. So I don't think it's crazy to say like I kind of. And you said the next 2 to 3 years. I mean, we shouldn't really be looking, especially for running backs, beyond 2 to 3 years in Dynasty. So
yeah, I mean, just too much changes. Like it's hard to really look at anybody over 2 or 3 years, except for those really high end assets, and those are all proven guys.
Yeah,
so.
So I personally, I would probably just trade the guy I feel like I could get more for because they're that close. But if let's just say I got equal value for both of them, I think I want to keep Hampton. Again, just watching him play, like he passed the eye test and his underlying numbers are there. And I think this team, is going to really get back to featuring him when they get their offensive line back here. So, would you take the 103 in Saquon for the 101 in Superflex? I have Gibbs, but nothing at running backs. I would take the 103 in Saquon for the 101.
Yeah. Because you already that means you have Gibbs and Saquon.
Yeah,
those are your starting running backs right there.
And Saquon can still have a huge season, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And so you're basically looking at Fernando Mendoza or one of the wide receivers, Jordan Tyson or Carnell Tate. So like those guys could be top 10 picks. So yeah, I would do that.
Seth. Yeah, I mean Bauer and Gadsden. So tight end is good. We'll see what happens with Garrett Wilson, and your wide receiver room isn't like in shambles. Obviously, like we need to see something from BTJ, and what's Garrett Wilson's situation like? I mean, we don't know even what the Jets.
He got paid, right? He was part of that. Like they paid him and Sauce Gardner a bunch of money. That was kind of like some of the moves there. Yeah, he got a 4-year, $130 million contract. So he's on the Jets for a while.
Yep. And hopefully he can just get a quarterback, but even like we've seen him be like we know the talent's there for sure. So I'm not too worried about that. So yeah, I think you're just holding that pick in Saquon.
Yeah. And then Sober Thoughts says basically he thinks he needs a quarterback. He got second place this year because he lost, Devontae Adams, Love, Judkins, Garrett Wilson. A lot of guys missed time. And he basically saying like, does he need to make a move for a quarterback? Start 10, super flex. He has Love, Stroud, and Fields. I don't think it's a urgent issue. I would want to shore up at least the QB3 there. You obviously don't have a top tier quarterback. I think you have 2 solid starters in Love and Stroud. I don't know what, you're probably not going to get anything in the rookie draft. You could always be on the lookout. I would be stashing guys like, if you can get Jacoby Brissett on the cheap, Mac Jones on the cheap, hold on to Joe Flacco, like these type of guys, because these guys could be starting next year. So I don't think it's urgent to make a move right now, though. Personally,
No, because you're gonna have to. I mean, maybe like if anything, you want to wait till you get closer to the draft when the picks are at like peak value, if you have picks, right? And then you try and sure that up a little bit. But I don't know. I guess we'll have to like wait and see. Like, and then it's a lot easier than you think. Well, it can be anyways, to get the guys that are going to retire definitely after this year, kind of a thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Stafford, Rodgers, or like some of those other guys who are going to give you some starts, like Flacco.
Yeah, you have a really good team here. I mean, just looking through it, like, so yeah, you can always look to make moves. I mean, I would be looking to tear down potentially from a Love or Stroud if Stroud looks good in the playoffs potentially, but I don't think it's urgent right now. So I think it's kind of always look to make moves, but I don't think it's urgent to really make a move. This team can win next year if they all stay healthy, plus adding a couple pieces here and there. So, Quinshon Judkins was the next running back taken, 12.1 points per game, RB25, had one of those bad injuries. I don't know. I don't think it's ligament. I think it was bone related, but I mean, the issue with Judkins and what it was all season was just the team he was on. Again, he faced 8 men in the box 45% of the time. Like, that's hard to do anything. And it showed in his yards per carry and stuff like that. Like, it really did show he had to grind this stuff out. So really going to depend on what the and he had a worse yards before contact than Genty. Really gonna what the Browns do at the quarterback position, at the coach position. Yeah, what are your thoughts? I mean, I think Judkins, for me, he exceeded my expectations for him. But like, what are your feelings with Judkins?
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot up in the air going into the season with him, right? There was charges, and it was maybe he was going to get suspended, and then he didn't sign or something like that.
Yeah,
I remember the not signing thing. I remember him falling even in redraft drafts, like close to the week before the NFL season started. So obviously that can affect guys a lot too. As far as getting integrated in the team. But yeah, they need a quarterback, or else he's just going to keep seeing those boxes. And like, we saw the role be huge. And so, yeah, I think you're right. Like, better than what we thought, given like, if you look at everything else from a 10,000 or 10,000 foot view.
Yeah. I was shocked that, like, yeah, he literally wasn't practicing until like a week before the season started. And then week 2, he comes in, he gets like 13 touches. Like, I was shocked by that. I was absolutely shocked. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to talk about him in the context of like him, Travion, and RJ Harvey, which I guess we can do that at the end here, and kind of how you would order those guys. I think Genty and Hampton are still the top 2 from this class. These 3 are the next guys to talk about. Maybe we should throw Scadaboo in there too.
I didn't realize this either. He had 1,000 total yards.
Judkins, yeah.
Yeah, and that's with missing 3 games. So that's not bad.
Yeah.
Obviously,
59
more.
Yeah, 59 rushing yards per game, 12 receiving yards per game. So, yeah, and he did manage to get 7 touchdowns. By the way, 998 total yards. You gave him the extra 2.
Yeah, I did. Because of his pace was more.
Well, when I play Sporkle in the offseason and it's like, name all the 1,000-yard players, I'm going to type Judkins and it's not going to come up. Ish, yeah. I mean, if you want to, you can. I don't know how much it's going to be hard to give full on analysis. I guess I'll take this time to announce we do team reviews. I actually need to announce that in the Discord. We do team reviews. Like we'll review your team. We'll look at it. You know, your whole league, the other players in the in the league, and kind of break down moves you should make and give you like a real in depth video, like at least 30 minutes, probably closer to 45 minutes, breaking down your team and stuff. It is a paid thing, but it's relatively, it's not too expensive. So join the Discord if you're interested in that. But you can leave, your team there, and we'll see if we have time there to get to it. So Travion was the next one. He's going to be an interesting one to talk about. Like the big question with Travion is we saw what he could be, but Ramondre Stevenson's there, and Ramondre Stevenson had a way better season than anyone thought. And when Ramondre Stevenson got paid, by the way, they paid him at some point.
It was in the preseason. Yeah.
Okay. And I don't think they have an out until after the 27 season, if I remember correctly. So Ramondre is going to be there. The big question with Travion is, what is he going to be? Kind of what he was when Ramondre was fully healthy, or are they going to give him expanded?
Ramondre got paid last year. June 24.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't even this coaching staff. And
I said last year, but yeah, you know what I mean, I guess.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, the big question with Travion is just like, is he ever gonna be a workhorse? And here's the thing about him: he was never a workhorse in college either. That doesn't necessarily mean anything. Josh Jacobs wasn't either, and we see what Josh Jacobs has become. But yeah, I mean, I really like Travion a lot. I think my vision with him wasn't necessarily that he was going to be a workhorse, but that he could do a lot with a little, right? And we've seen that potential, 60-yard runs and stuff. He had a few of those. So I still really like him. I still think I have him as my RB3 in this draft class, but it is closer with a couple guys. Where are you at with Travion, and how you feeling with him? Were you kind of like, is this what you expected from him this year? By the way, over 1,100 scrimmage yards for Travion. And he's obviously on a good team too.
Yeah. That's like number one, right? Like obviously, like we saw a huge bump in Patriots draft stock with like, it's funny because it's like none of the players you really want outside of Travion and Drake May, right, for long term.
Kyle Williams.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about him on the next one, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think, Travion, he is going to have a Ramondre problem, but I think the efficiency is going to definitely like help him for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think we all got a little too excited the 3 games that Ramondre missed because Travion was just awesome. And it's like, how do you put that back kind of a thing? And it's like, well, they kind of just went closer to a 50-50 split, more or less, in the last 4 games that they played together, except for the one against Baltimore, So, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to be the case for next year. Just given, like, I mean, pay attention to like what happens in the off season, and postseason. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
And just see, it could be more of closer to a hot hand approach. But yeah, like you said, those big runs, it's always super exciting to see. And he might just have to be like one of those RB3 type range guys. Like you're starting him with those kinds of expectations, but he can easily finish, top 15, like on a given week.
Yeah, it's probably going to have to be like a Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery situation next year, where both of them can really flourish, but we need them to really lean on the run. And I don't know how much they're going to do that. I don't know. Looking at Travion, and like, because Gibbs comes to mind when I think of Travion, and very similar rookie years. Gibbs was better, had about 100 and 30 more total yards, one more touchdown, and more catches. But like in terms of the efficiency, very similar. 5.1 for Travion, 5.2 for Gibbs, 6.1 per reception stuff. So it could happen. Yeah, I mean, again, he's on a really good offense. You could see that, like in his yards before contact was 3. That was one of the highest. So, I'm just reading the last comment that came in. Also had really good like rushing over expectations, so he was kind of doing more than what was expected of him, and stuff like that. So, overall, I still think I have him near my RB3, but it's getting closer. RJ Harvey, it was the next one, RB24 this year. I think Harvey, Judkins, and Travion like all finished like back to back to back. Or I think Judkins and Travion were tied in points per game. Yeah, they were. And Harvey was 0.1 better. So I did hear someone talk about like, oh, I don't think RJ Harvey's very good. He's a product of Sean Payton and the Broncos. And it's like, yeah, but he's going to be on the Broncos for the next 3 years and Sean Payton. So like, do I really care too much about that? So surprisingly enough, did you know that RJ Harvey had 12 total touchdowns? I think that
yeah, I think I remember hearing that he led. Did he lead rookie running backs in touchdowns?
He might have led all rookies, like in
rushing and receiving. I guess so. Like I can't really think of who would have caught 12 that I'm not thinking of.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously that was his first little run of touchdowns. Was not necessarily helpful for anybody because you weren't starting him at that point because he was still like not getting a snap share to where you really wanted to see it. And then if you tried to chase it, it might have bit you a little bit, but solid involvement in the passing game for sure. Like he was like, you can't quite put him in workhorse like mode or role. No. But it's like, but when he was out there, he was being used, and that's even more important than just being out there all the fucking time,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think like there's a lot to be excited about. And sad to say it, the Broncos just looked good.
Yeah. They did. Sorry, I was just looking at Kamara and the most touches he had under Sean Payton. He had a couple years there where he had a decent amount of touches, 270, 287. But you look at Kamara's rookie year, and like he only had 200 touches. He was just like incredible, which is what RJ Harvey had in one more game, basically. Obviously, Kamara was awesome that year, but yeah, it's going to be a committee. He's going to be a little bit of a product of the offense, but that's fine. I don't know. I think he's kind of is he appropriately ranked? I don't know. Like he's RB14. Do I think he should be ahead of like Kyron, Scattaboo, Barkley? I don't think so. I could see it with Barkley because like the age is always going to come into play, but Barkley could be RB1 next year and it wouldn't shock anyone. Harvey's not going to be RB1. And I say this a lot. I will take 1 season of a top 3 running back over 5 seasons of RB18. I just would, because RB3 wins me leagues, Josh Jacobs, that's surprising. He shouldn't be over these guys, in my opinion. So I do think he is a little bit up too much, and you can't even make like the age argument too much because like Harvey's not that much. Like he's less than a year older than Kyron, because Harvey was old when he came in. So I do think he's a potential sell high option here. I'll skip the next 2 real quick because I do think Cam Scattaboo belongs in this conversation of like who's the next guy. Real quickly, Scattaboo. I mean, he played awesome. I think he might have been. Was he the best rookie in points per game, non-quarterback. Might have been because he averaged 16 points per game, more than
Yes.
Hampton.
7 touchdowns in not even a full 8 games. So
Yeah.
he would have beat Harvey, man. He would have.
Yeah, he would have. He can catch the ball. I don't think he's, I think he's fun, man. He's not going to be an explosive guy. He's going to be a grinded out guy, but he can do it all. And this is what I said about Scadaboo in the draft process. Like people are going to, I said, he can do everything in my opinion. He does need to improve the pass blocking, but he's a willing pass blocker. I don't think it's necessarily, he can't block a guy in front of him. It's more of like picking up who's the guy that's coming that he probably needs to work on. And he can do it all. He can catch, he can run, he's going to grind it out. The coaches are going to love him, fans are going to love him. And that's literally what happened with the guy. Like people are obsessed with this guy. He's like all over, like he's a streamer and he's like at WWE events and like he's just everywhere. Like people, and that stuff matters. So I think there's an argument. Like, how would you rank those four? Judkins, Travion, Harvey, Scadaboo. In terms of just like in a vacuum, who would you want on your team? Like you're in a startup, what order would you take them?
I think I'm gonna go Henderson, Harvey, and I don't know. Scadaboo and Judkins is a little bit harder to put in order, but I think I'm gonna take Scadaboo, honestly.
Yeah, I'm kind of like I'm Travion, and then I'm not sure. Like I think it might be Scadaboo for me. I know he has the injury, which we do. It was one of those where his leg was kind of bent, his foot was bent the other way. So do watch that. But he's also the type of player where, like, I don't know how much that matters. Like, he could have a very short career. I did mention that as well. But honestly, if he's going to put up our top 10 running back numbers, I don't care if he has a 3-year career. I'll take that over, again, RB20 with a 7-year career. Yeah, I really like Scadaboo. I think he's just a fun player, and all his underlying numbers were pretty good as well. So there's not really a whole lot to complain about there, and he was a pretty good value pick in this draft. So we got to talk about Caleb Johnson, because he was drafted as a first-round pick. 8.8 points, 0.9 points per game, RB at 115. What the hell do you do with Caleb? What do you do with these players that weren't injured but did nothing? Like, literally, the guy did nothing. What do we do with these guys? Do you just, like, you hope someone offers a third to you and you take it? Do you think I'm just going to hold out because I invested a first-round pick into him? What the hell do you do with Caleb Johnson?
I don't know, man. I mean, is there even an answer for that? I mean, you're just holding him, like, I'm not trading him for a third. I mean, it sucks for him how well Kenny Gainwell played this year, like, not that I think he's gonna, like, well, I don't know. I don't know what his, like, contract situation is, but I mean, there's a lot to be answered in Pittsburgh in general too, right? Like, after this little playoff run. So
emphasis on little.
What's that?
Emphasis on little.
Like, yeah, who are they playing?
I mean, they can win. Shit, who are they playing? Texans. So, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if they won, but
yeah, it's not an offensive powerhouse, but I mean,
no,
whatever. I don't know. Could he be Blake Corum? Like, who didn't play at all and was, like, I don't know what, like, Caleb was probably a healthy scratch in quite a few games, right?
Yeah, I think he played in. I have it here. He played in 10.
Yeah, it says 10, but it looks like it was basically just a couple of snaps.
Yeah.
I mean, a few rushing attempts here and there, but I mean, just there's no data, but No, I'm not trading him for a third. I'll probably take a second though.
Yeah,
But it's got to be
I would definitely take a second.
Yeah.
2027 second, I'll take it. Yeah, I mean, he could be like Kyron's another one that comes to mind of a guy that like did nothing. Now Kyron wasn't early round pick or anything, but Kyron played in a decent amount of games his rookie year. And yeah, I mean, we were kind of talking shit and saying like he got beat out by Kenny Gainwell, and then Kenneth Gainwell like played really, really well. So like that helps him a little bit, but I don't know. Maybe it is just the situation the guy needed. I'll say this: Caleb makes me believe in myself because I had him at the bottom of this tier of guys. The Travions, the Judkins, the Harveys, even Dylan Sampson. I was higher on Scadaboo. I was higher on, and then I started to like question myself because it's like, man, everyone else is really high on Caleb. I don't know. It's so tough, but yeah, I don't think you're going to get the appropriate value. He has to just be a hold at this point and see what happens. So he'll get a shot somewhere, hopefully. Maybe with the Steelers. I don't know. I don't know. Bashal Tutin had a little bit of a run there. I don't think Bashal Tutin's ever going to be the main guy. He's going to have to be probably one of these super efficient guys, in my opinion. Does have pretty good underlying numbers, like yards after contact, 3.14. You don't think, he's a smaller guy, so you don't think of him as like a yards after contact type of guy, but he was right up there with Genty, with Omarion and stuff like that, with Judkins. So he's going to be a fun player. He's going to be a lot more valuable in deeper leagues. Maybe an Austin Eckler type of like late career, what Eckler was doing, or he's just going to have to be very efficient, in my opinion. So we'll see what the Jags do with ETN. I think that's going to tell you a lot about scooting, tooting.
Yeah, tag him.
What do you like take for these guys though? Like Tootin, Samson. I guess those are really like the only two. Like, do you couple thirds? You're re-rolling the dice. I don't know if anyone would do that, but an early third round pick, are you re-rolling?
Yeah,
with that. Does it depend on the draft, maybe?
Yeah, I mean that's definitely like a draft night decision, I guess. But yeah, I mean it's gonna depend, like you said, on like what do they do with ETN. I don't see why. I guess it's going to kind of depend on what their playoff run looks like, too. I mean, Jags really put it together this year, but I mean, they're playing the Bills. So,
yeah, it's going to be a fun game.
Yeah.
That could go either way. I mean, it's in Jacksonville. That's going to be a fun game. Yeah, it's so hard with these guys. I do think they're talented. So I think I would be like late second, early third. I would move on. Anything less, I think I would just hold and hope it works out. Woody Marks, 150 points, 9.4 per game. I'll say this about Woody Marks. Like, I don't know how good of a player he is. I think I'm trading him at RB26 value. He's a late round pick. Actually, no, sorry. He was a third round pick. I shouldn't say late round pick. Now, the team did trade a fourth round pick, sorry. But they traded like essentially a third round pick for him. I just don't know how good he is, to be honest. I don't think like he's just a volume guy. I think he did a lot of it because he just got the volume. But also, was it just like the Texans weren't very good in terms of like run blocking and stuff like that? That's definitely a possibility. Did have a decent rush yards over, rushing over expectation. I don't know. I think I'm just kind of cashing out with Woody Marks if I can get basically low end RB2 value for him. Where are you at with
yeah, I don't mind that. I don't mind that assessment either. It's just like they don't have anyone else, right? Like, I mean,
yeah,
is Jordan all of a sudden going to be a thing? Like, I don't think so. And like, Chubb's 30. Oh yeah, that guy. Like, who the fuck knows what's going on there, man? Like,
Yeah.
I
They
totally
have an
forgot he
out.
was on that team. What's that?
They have an out in his contract. I would be shocked if they don't take it.
Yeah.
I think they can save like 8 million or something.
Dude, what if the Texans win the Super Bowl? Like, does he get a ring?
Does he get a ring?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's on the pop. Like,
I
he's on
think
the
practice squad players get it. I think like everyone gets it.
holy shit.
Yeah.
Well, cool.
All boys.
Yeah, but I mean, that is the one thing that he's got going for him. So I guess, like, I don't know who they're going to draft necessarily that's going to, like, scare me off of him. You know, obviously, they've already got a playoff team set of picks, like, at minimum. But I mean, that's where these guys pop up, you know? So I don't know. I think I'm okay cashing out, but I'm also okay, like, what's the most you're paying for him if you're a contending team? I mean, it's kind of hard to like put forth these scenarios now because we literally just finished, you know. But I mean, RB depth wise, like, what are you paying? Are you paying a late second, or you'd rather just hold that? And
He's the there's veteran running backs I don't like trading for in the off season until like July. He's like the rookies that I also don't like to trade for. Here's one that comes to mind. And I actually made this mistake last year. I don't know if it necessarily like the overall trade itself was, but like Tyrone Tracy, like he was another one of those where after I made the trade, I kind of thought about it. I was like, yeah, I feel like Tracy's one of those guys I shouldn't have traded for, even though he's young, right? Not all young players are the same. He feels like in that kind of boat, easily replaced by someone. We'll still have a role if the guy gets hurt or whatever, and still have value there, but like not the value that you probably have to pay for him to get him. Like I wouldn't pay a late second for him. So it could be a mistake, but I'm willing to be okay and not make that mistake or lose out on that. So,
sure,
would you pay a late second for him?
I would definitely consider it. You know, like especially in this draft class that, from all accounts and purposes, like I haven't looked at it very hard myself, but it just sounds like it's not very deep. So I can see myself paying it.
Who's older, Woody Marks or Kyron?
Well, I feel like because you're asking, it's Kyron, but I'm gonna say wait. Oh, sorry, older. Yeah, I'm just gonna say Kyron.
He is, but only by 4 months.
Okay.
He's only 7 months younger than Javante. Javante's only 25 and a half.
What do you think about Woody Marks pre-draft?
I didn't love him. His superpower in college was catching the ball. He caught his seasons catching the ball 60, 83, which is insane in college. That's in 13 games. 48, 23. He caught 261 passes in college, but I don't think he was necessarily very good as a pass catcher. And they didn't really use him as a pass catcher on the Texans, 24 catches in 16 games. But then when the Texans traded up for him and basically traded a third round pick for him, I started to like take him a lot late in drafts, third, fourth round pick. Because like I was like, oh, they obviously like this guy. So I think obviously it paid off for what you paid for him.
Sure.
But I wasn't very high on him. So we'll get through these last guys pretty quickly, but Dylan Sampson, not a whole lot to say here. I'm a big Dylan Sampson guy. I still think he's really good. Did catch probably one of those guys you're like, where you go back and look at like, oh yeah, like running backs to catch 30 or more passes. Oh, Dylan Sampson. Like that, that didn't, you probably didn't expect that. Do you think he's a good pass catcher? I think he's just a good player. We'll see if he gets an opportunity with potentially Judkins maybe missing. I don't think he will, but I mean, that's going to be his issue is Judkins. So,
yeah,
we'll
we knew that. We knew that in the preseason.
Yeah.
So not a bad like depth piece potentially, but
Samson or Caleb Johnson.
no, I'm gonna be stubborn and go Caleb.
Yeah, it's probably the better move. I just like Dylan I liked him as a prospect more. So, and usually that kind of just like, if guys are good, they get their opportunity. But Devin Neal, I will say I want to try and get on my teams because I think you can get buy him low if people aren't paying attention because he has a sneaky chance at being the guy. And he actually looked decent in the couple of games where he had the workload. So try to get Devin Neal in. I don't know if you're going to be like, people might be onto you when you try to send like a late third for just Devin Neal, but like get him in as like a throw in the other pieces are the main focal point of the trade. See if you can get Devin Neal. Those couple of games he started there. Basically he started 3 games, but he got hurt in the third one. He had decent production there. Nothing crazy, but like, he showed that he can catch the ball. He got the work and stuff. So, Kamara is another year older. Is Kamara even under contract? I don't know. Kendre Miller, who knows about that guy? Like Audric Estime. Could be a sneaky. I think they bring someone in, but he could be a sneaky. Like, oh, he's actually the starter, kind of like a Rico Dowdle a couple of years ago, where it's just like, oh, Rico Dowdle was actually the starter for this team. Try and go out and get him if you can. Monangai. What are we doing with Kyle Monangai? Split backfield, really good team that wants to run the ball. You kind of looking at him as like, I don't know, RB3 heading into the year?
Yeah, Keep Trade Cuts got him. Shit, I just lost him. Where'd he go? He got him at number 22.
Trade.
Yeah, trade at that price. Sorry, I was just looking up what was Swift's contract. Come on, don't fail me now.
Thought he was not
yeah.
there.
What's that?
I'm pulling it up too. My internet's being a little. They haven't. No, this was his last. No, it's already showing 26. Like they're on to 26, but it looks like they have an out on his contract. But it's nothing too crazy. His cap hit $8 billion.
Yeah. So I mean, Monangai, like obviously, like we saw him like work in the split backfield, and he was like he had a nice little stretch there of good, better efficiency than I would have expected. Like he was definitely a guy. I felt like both Bears running backs like were kind of guys to like kind of target. Like obviously Swift much sooner than Monangai in redraft drafts, but I think it ended up kind of working out. Like I think he looked good in enough games to where I'm kind of excited about him. But yeah, like I don't even know if I'd put him quite in RB3 territory. Maybe a little after. No, not after RB3, like not after 36, but definitely after 30.
Yeah, I do think the Bears could make a move for a running back, like in free agency, kind of like what the Lions did, where it's like, okay, yeah, they had Swift and Jamal Williams. That's a decent backfield. You can go in with that. They don't need a running back, and then they bring in Montgomery and Gibbs. Like, I don't know if Monangai's ever going to be the guy, and I think people are kind of ranking him to where they think he has a better than 50% chance that he is the guy next year.
Yep.
And I would bank on that he isn't the guy, the only guy or like the main guy there next year. So I think they're going to run two running backs. Do they go out and try and get a Javonte, an ETN, a Kenneth Walker? There's a pretty good free agency crop of guys. Those 3 guys in particular, Javonte, ETN, and Walker. Do they go out?
Tyler Algier.
Algier too, sure.
Yeah,
throw him in there. So I would be okay trading him at that value, and I acknowledging that you could lose that trade pretty easily. Bill is the last guy.
Oh yeah,
Our guy Bill. We talked about him way before anyone else was talking about him on Dynasty content. I thought it was weird that like the Commanders like went away from him because like he played well. Like when he got the opportunity, like there was times where he didn't play well. I'll say that. Like when he kind of seemed to get his opportunity after those first couple of weeks of looking good, he didn't play well. But like his underlying numbers are actually pretty good. Like yards after contact 3.5, which is better than anyone in this draft class. Better than Travion. Better than Cam Scadaboo. Guys, I don't know if you think of Travion like that, but like Scadaboo like that. His rushing yards over expectation and stuff like that. We saw with that game, what was it, against the Cowboys or something, when Rodriguez was hurt, not hurt, but sick, that he looked good in that game. So I really like Bill. I think there's a chance here still for him. Like of all these late guys that we talked about, I probably have Bill near the top, to be honest. Maybe I'm a little bit biased.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, keep trade cut's got him at 34, so I think that's a little bit too big of a gap without really like sitting down and like looking at like, oh, these guys, like I'd rather have this guy and this guy over that. But yeah, I think appropriately ranked, honestly. Mm-hmm. So like around where I'd have Kyle Monangai. So yeah, I mean, I wonder how much, like, I wonder what this team healthy looks like, or with a healthy Jaden Daniels, especially, like we didn't get basically any sample size of that, and it is a little worrisome, obviously, when Chris Rodriguez is outplaying you, like snap wise and everything. It's like there's no pass catching chops. Well, can't say he doesn't have chops. They didn't use him that way, They got Jeremy McNichols for that, I don't even know who the fuck they were throwing the ball to, man. So yeah, not super excited. Like, I think appropriately priced, like I said. So solid keep.
Yeah, of the guys who got a significant amount of carries this year, I think so. His breakaway percentage, so 25.2% of his yards came on basically big plays, like rushes of 15 yards or more, which just shows like how explosive you are. Only Hampton and Henderson were better than him. Oh, and Harvey. Really out of anyone, not just guys with significant carries. He had a pretty good elusive rating, which shows like your ability to basically force a missed tackle and stuff. So I think there's some underlying stuff there. Yeah, I kind of agree where it's like, what did you expect from this team? Like, why are you blaming Bill when, Jaden Daniels was hurt? The whole team sucked. But
yeah. McLaurin missed a bunch, obviously, too. It's like they were just all kinds of beat up, It kind of sucks because like their receiving core is just, it's obviously aging. And it's like, what the hell are they going to do?
Yeah. Yep. Those were the rookies. For quarterbacks and running backs, we'll be back Saturday. We'll get to a couple of these questions here. But Saturday, we'll be back talking about the wide receivers and tight ends. Overall, I mean, the rookie running back class, I think, was, in terms of year one production, a bit of a disappointment. But there's a lot of, Genty, Hampton, Judkins, Travion, Harvey, Scadaboo, Bill, Monangai. There's 8 guys there that we're pretty decently excited about, plus throwing Caleb Johnson and, Woody Marks, I should have thrown in there, and
Devin Neal.
Yeah. Ollie Gordon, we didn't really talk about, but like there's other guys here, Taj Brooks and Bashard Smith. Like, hold on to these guys. Running backs are incredibly valuable and easy to move up the depth chart and have an impact. So Marv says he traded Judkins, a 104, 106 Shaheed Brissett and Io Manor for Knicks and a 27 first. And now he has still has the 101, so he's going to probably get Jeremiah 11, 627 first. So he's going all in on that 27 class, which is looking really good.
Gotta love the updates, the weekly updates from Marv on his trades, man.
Yeah, I mean, probably I don't know, like 104 and 106 for Knicks. Like you're probably taking Knicks in this class. So like Judkin, Shaheed, Brissett, and Io Manor for 20. Yeah, it's probably a slight overpay, but I don't hate it. You know, you're getting Knicks in a 27 first. So and then Ish Ketso just traded for Burrow at the end of the season, but running backs are Hendy, RJ, Scat, and some Flyers. He has Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, London BTJ, and he has Fannin and Warren at the tight end position. Is it subconsciously that you put Fannin over Warren? Do you think like him more? That's a little telling. Other quarterbacks, Mac Jones and Daniel. It's not Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, I don't know how to interpret that. Jones, Mac and Daniel. I don't know. Mac Jones and Daniel Jones.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's what he means. Yep. So he has Burrow, Mac Jones, Daniel Jones, McCarthy. Yeah, I mean,
you get another quarterback, obviously. Like you could luck into one with Mac Jones. I mean, you do have McCarthy, but obviously, like you don't necessarily want to count on him as your number 2 going into the year. So I don't know. We might have to do a little deeper dive here for Ishket. So
yeah, for sure. And we can do that for you, Ish. I'll mention it one more time before we take off. We do team reviews, so we'll look at your whole league and stuff. I don't think you're like desperate to overpay for a quarterback right now, though.
No.
This is Yacht Possum here. He says, "What do we do with Rushy Rice?" Yeah, we're gonna have to make a video on him or something. I guess what I said at the top was like, and I actually saw like an update. Like there's like pictures posted from his ex. That didn't look great. So. Obviously, the process is going to have to go through, and is the NFL going to make an example out of him, or like hey, you were already suspended 6 games, now you're going to be suspended long, or that's going to affect his long term. But what I basically said is like, unfortunately, the NFL, like if you're good, the NFL like and coaches and teams kind of sweep these things under the rug a little bit. I mean, there's some bad people that have played in the NFL that like, just it kind of disappeared because they're really good, and they help the team win. And it sucks. That's how it is. I don't really know what to do with him. I mean, we'll have to think about that and maybe talk about it in the next stream or something. Or like, what would we do with him? But it's not great news, that's for sure. Both from just like again, we'll see what comes out and stuff, but yeah. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that whole thing?
Yeah, I mean, just go back to the top to like hear what we said about it. But yeah, just too many moving pieces like in the Chiefs world right now. Sorry, I started like closing my windows and stuff. I mean, I don't know. Do you think it's dirty to try and get out from under him right now, like before everyone knows the news or something like that? Like, no. Or is he already falling?
Yeah, I don't know if he's already falling, but I don't think it's dirty to like do that. And people need to pay attention, and people already probably know. So
I agree. Yeah, wide receiver 10 still. So we'll have to see. But I mean, if you're nervous at all, what's that?
Apparently, like this just happened, like it just came out. So.
Yeah.
What's going to make it worse if there's videos and pictures too, but like videos is the one that's what got like Ray Rice eventually. gone from the league and stuff, So yeah, I'll sit on that and think and like what to potentially do. But again, good chance that like he gets kind of a little bit of a slap on the wrist. You're suspended for a month, but we saw like what that meant this last year, and he came and he was awesome. So, in terms of his production, but we are heading out.
Yeah, we went
here.
long.
Yeah, and I expected it to be about this long. So we'll be back Saturday morning, and we will we appreciate you all. Had double digits people listening, some commenting. So join us Saturday morning, and we'll see you all then.